One guy that keeps talking about you also is Ilia Topuria. Do you have a message for him? He really wants to fight you next year.
No, man. I'm tired to give chance the small guys, you know. I need my second belt, you know. It's nothing excited. He's a good fighter, he's a good skills fighter, but I don't want to give him chance.
Imagine turning down money so big it could buy a small island, a fleet of sports cars, and still leave enough for your kids' kids to live easy. That's the kind of offer Islam Makhachev just said no to. Word spread that Apple's boss Tim Cook, a man who usually talks about iPhones and computers, waved almost $200 million in Islam's face to star in a flashy video that supports LGBTQ rights. Islam didn't even flinch. He said his belief in his faith matters more than any giant paycheck, no matter who signs it. While that bombshell was dropping, featherweight terror Ilia Topuria was busy blowing up on social media, calling Islam a coward and a faker for dodging him at lightweight but hunting weaker fighters at welterweight. And if that drama wasn't enough, former welterweight king Kamaru Usman has been promised the next shot at the welterweight belt, but only if he waits on the sidelines, possibly for a whole year. 3 huge stories collided in one wild week, and every fan wants to know who's right, who's wrong, and what happens next. Grab some popcorn, subscribe fast to the MMA Desk, and let's dive right in. Islam's manager, Ali Abdelaziz, sat down across from Kamaru Usman on the Pound for Pound podcast. It felt like 2 generals swapping secret maps. Ali smiled and dropped the first surprise. Islam versus rising striker Jack Della Maddalena is already booked for a huge arena in New York City. No rumors, no guesses. Signed, sealed, and only waiting on fight night. Fans went nuts, picturing the Australian underdog walking into the bright Madison Square Garden lights with nothing to lose and everything to gain. Then Ali leaned in closer to the microphone and added a twist. After that bout, the UFC has promised that Usman himself will be the next man in line for the welterweight belt. The studio got quiet for a moment because everyone knew what that meant. Usman, one of the most dominant champions ever, could reclaim gold, but only if he's patient. One wrong move, one injury, or one upset in another division could yank the chance away. The news was like handing someone a golden ticket, but telling them to protect it from wind, rain, and hungry birds until the gate finally opens. Every listener could almost hear the clock start ticking in the background that night. Nobody wants to blink first in this high-stakes staring contest. Kamaru Usman is a man who hates sitting still. He built his legacy by smashing through opponents, not watching them on TV. Now, for the first time since he first won the belt, the safest play might be to do absolutely nothing. If Usman waits, his contract practically guarantees a title fight with Islam and the payday that comes with it. But waiting isn't really waiting in MMA. It's wrestling with time itself. Months out of the cage can dull timing, reduce reflexes, and let smaller injuries heal into bigger problems. Meanwhile, fresh, hungry contenders line up like storm clouds on the horizon. Shavkat Rakhmonov, Belal Muhammad, and even wildcard newcomers keep screaming for their chance. One of them could soar in popularity overnight and push Usman down the queue. Usman's coaches remind him that at 38 years old, the body doesn't spring back the way it used to. He trains anyway, running sprints at altitude, drilling wrestling sequences at dawn, trying to stay sharp in case the UFC calls tomorrow and says, "Emergency main event, can you make weight?" The clock feels louder every morning he laces up his gloves. On restless nights, he replays title rounds inside his head. Shavkat Rakhmonov watches all of this from the shadows, wearing his trademark wolf hat and a quiet grin. He was once offered a short-notice title fight, but paperwork tangled, and the chance slipped away like sand through fingertips. The Kazakh phenom decided to wait for the perfect opportunity instead of fighting a dangerous placeholder. On paper, that choice sounded smart. Avoid injury, position for gold. In reality, it has felt like being stranded at an airport where every flight keeps getting delayed. Weeks turned into months, and the spotlight drifted to flashier names. Rakhmonov's coaches warn him about the Arman Tsarukyan lesson. Sometimes the UFC rewards patience, sometimes it punishes it by forgetting your phone number. Fans on forums joke that Shavkat is becoming Bigfoot, often talked about but rarely seen. To stay relevant, he posts training clips of spinning kicks and brutal takedowns, hoping the highlight reels remind matchmakers he's still terrifying. Deep down, he battles the same question Usman faces: fight again and risk your ranking, or trust that Dana White will eventually call. His answer changes by the day, depending on how sore his knuckles feel after sparring. Opportunity circles like a hawk, but patience feels like prey. Across the ocean, Ilia Topuria holds his phone like it's a microphone and records a fiery rant that quickly goes viral. In simple words, he calls Islam Makhachev two-faced, saying Islam refused to fight him at lightweight because he was too small. But now Islam wants to jump up and fight giants for a second belt. To Topuria, that sounds like running away in a circle. He reminds everyone that he begged for the matchup, promised fireworks, and even offered to come to Islam's home turf. Instead, he claims, the champion's camp slammed the door and locked it. Fans pour into the comments, choosing sides like kids in a schoolyard argument. Some say Ilia is jealous. Others believe Islam really ducked him. Topuria winds up his speech by warning that he doesn't chase runners. He hunts lions that stand and fight. The clip ends with him slamming the table, and you can almost feel the camera shake. Within minutes, MMA websites translate his words into a dozen languages. And the hashtag number two-faced Islam starts trending. Whether the accusations are fair or not, the echo can't be unheard, and the rivalry grows teeth. Everyone waits, wondering if anger will force a clash. Words are punches too, and Topuria throws them with precision. With Islam seemingly out of reach for now, Topuria sets his sights on another loud figure, Paddy Pimblett, the Liverpool lightweight known for crazy haircuts and cheeky one-liners. Paddy hears the call out and grins like it's Christmas morning. He posts a meme of himself eating pizza while Topuria shouts in the background, captioned, "Feeding time soon, lad." Dana White notices the buzz and starts hinting that the matchup makes sense. Both fighters sell tickets, both talk non-stop, and both promise finishes. Some insiders argue that Paddy should fight a top 5 contender first, but marketing math often beats rankings. A bout between these two could headline a UK pay-per-view and fill an arena before the first poster is even printed. Behind the cameras, Topuria's coaches worry about cutting to 155 safely. Paddy's team studies Ilia's powerful hooks and slick grappling. In press interviews, each side throws friendly insults, building heat without crossing the line. Yet, ticket brokers quietly set up email alerts, knowing seats will vanish in minutes if the fight becomes official. For fans craving chaos, the pairing feels too perfect to ignore, like two storm fronts moving toward the same sky. The build-up itself might sell more pay-per-views than some championships. Soon, thunder or fireworks will light up arenas everywhere. Meanwhile, back in Dagestan, Islam Makhachev sits in a simple wrestling gym when the phone rings with an unbelievable proposal. Representatives say Tim Cook, the head of Apple, wants Islam to star in a global video that celebrates LGBTQ inclusion. The paycheck attached is a jaw-dropping $199 million, more money than most UFC champions earn in a lifetime. The call is polite, full of marketing buzzwords, but Islam's answer is quick and calm. No. To him, faith is not a brand he can tweak for any sponsor, no matter how famous. When the story leaks through Russian sports outlets, social media explodes. Some fans cheer his conviction, others think he is turning his back on progress. Economists calculate how many iPhones you could buy with that sum and joke about shipping crates of them to Makhachev. Journalists compare the offer to soccer's mega deals and boxing's record purses, trying to make sense of a number so large. Yet inside Islam's circle, the mood stays peaceful. They pray, train, and shrug at the headlines, believing that real wealth is measured in family and belief, not commas in a contract. The world argues. Islam simply laces his gloves again afterward. Values clash with commerce, forging headlines hotter than summer asphalt. For many young fighters, that kind of refusal sounds impossible, but Islam's decision sparks a deeper conversation about what success really means. In classrooms and coffee shops, people debate whether personal principles can live alongside mega sponsorships. Some say Islam missed a once-in-a-generation chance to lift his entire region out of poverty. Others argue that keeping faith public and clear is its own priceless gift. Sports psychologists note that a fighter's mindset thrives on inner peace, and accepting a role that clashes with core beliefs could plant doubt like a thorn under the skin. Meanwhile, marketing experts scramble to predict how the choice will affect Islam's global brand. Will companies respect him for standing firm or label him too risky for future campaigns? Only time will tell, but in the short run, ticket sales actually rise. Fans, especially in Muslim-majority countries, embrace him even tighter, buying shirts that read "Faith First." Reporters try to corner him with tricky questions about politics, but he calmly repeats a simple line: "I fight for honor, not hashtags." In an era where every move gets monetized, his stance feels almost rebellious. Some lessons cost millions. This one cost nothing but resolve. Even rivals admit such stubborn clarity is rare, maybe even admirable in sports today. Far from money debates, Max Holloway studies the latest UFC rankings and feels his eyebrows rise. He sees Charles Oliveira and Justin Gaethje listed above him, even though he finished both with his fists and elbows. To Max, the list looks like a math test graded wrong. His next exam is just days away. A 5-round bout with Dustin Poirier, a man he has already fought twice. The stakes stretch beyond another win or loss. If Max beats Dustin, he becomes the first fighter to successfully defend the BMF belt, a shiny badge that screams toughness. More important, he would own fresh victories over Gaethje and Poirier at lightweight, making it hard for the UFC to deny him a real title shot at 155. But if he loses, the story flips. Critics will say he failed in 2 weight classes and the door to the belt could slam shut. During late-night walks in Hawaii, he reminds himself to stay blessed, his famous mantra. He pictures landing that clean right hand, hearing the crowd gasp, and proving that numbers on a website never define a warrior's worth. Saturday night will show if mathematics or heart decides the next championship equation clearly. Legacy whispers louder than any algorithm ranking on Fight Night. Watching from Brazil, Charles Oliveira presses a bag of ice against his jaw and reflects on the first true knockout of his career, delivered by Ilia Topuria's thunderous right hand. For years, Oliveira bragged that nobody hit harder than he did. Now he admits Topuria cracked that myth wide open. Still, the setback hasn't dimmed his fire. Between therapy sessions for his neck and light pad work, he tells reporters he wants to fight Max Holloway again in November, belt or no belt. He believes both men are still fireworks in human form and the rematch would sell itself. The timeline lines up. He fought in June, Holloway in July. November feels perfect, like the 9th inning of the year. Fans already imagine spinning back kicks, slick submissions, and the winner vaulting back into the title picture. All these moving parts. Islam's values, Topuria's rage, Usman's waiting, Shavkat's patience, Max's mission, Oliveira's rebirth, create a living puzzle. One piece shifts and the whole picture changes. That uncertainty is why people stay glued to their screens, refreshing news feeds, and arguing in comment sections. In MMA, tomorrow's headline can wipe out today's certainty in a single punch. So everyone listens for the next rumble. Until then, every fighter trains, hoping destiny finally calls collect.